Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Warning, warning. Warning, warning. Warning, warning.
I just want to say I take my hat off. Kudos to the people of Washington, D.C. for showing not just bravery and courage, but patience and restraint in the face of what is, and I'm just going to go out here and say it, an occupation. And it pisses me off to no end that we somehow have a situation in this country where the president of the United States is allowed to take over the nation's capital. How is that legal? How is that possible in this country? The people of Washington, D.C. deserve statehood, not a police state.
But do you think that your colleagues in the Senate Democrats, should refuse to fund the government? That deadline is coming up at the end of September. Should they refuse to vote on these spending bills using that leverage until they see President Trump reverse deploying troops in the streets of D.C.?
Yes. I mean, first, that should be on the table. I don't think we should be ruling that out. I think that Democrats in the Senate, the House, I mean, all of us should be united in using everything that we can do and all of our power to stop what Trump is doing right now, not just in D.C., but across the country. So absolutely, that should be on the table.
What's wrong with you people?
Meanwhile,
are you going to be releasing evidence
of what? That D.C. has a terrible crime problem? You just got to look around. Obviously, D.C. has a terrible crime problem. The Department of Justice statistics back it up. The FBI statistics back it up. Just talk to a resident of this city, this beautiful, great American city. Don't they deserve... I mean, we talk about human rights. We hear these people outside screaming, free D.C. Let's free D.C. from lawlessness. Let's free Washington, D.C. from one of the highest murder rates in the entire world. Let's free Washington, D.C. so that young families can walk around and feel safe and secure. That's what we're trying to free D.C. from. And as Stephen said, it's kind of bizarre that we have a bunch of old, primarily white people who are out there protesting the policies that keep people safe when they've never felt danger in their entire lives.
He has a point. And this is what I find interesting, because I've made this argument before that many Black Americans actually vote against their own interest. So all these white Democrats are in DC protesting what the federal government is doing in Washington, DC, which is essentially making the city safe and cleaning it up. And they're using federal tools along with the local police department. But here's what's interesting. Black people are about 46 to 47% of Washington, DC. And more than like 92% of homicide victims are Black. The majority of victims, probably above 70% of the people who are victims of violent crime, are Black. And from the DC Police Union, we know that violent crime is down 22% over the past 7 days. Robbery down almost 50% and carjacking down over 80%. The federal government doing this and operating there has quite literally made DC safer for Black Americans. When communities are safer for a longer period of times, this gives more stability and allows more economic growth and development. And I find it interesting because all the Democrats and all the left-leaning people who care or who claim that they care so much about Black people are quite literally fighting policies that are making Black people more safe. Less Black people are now victims of crimes in DC due to what the federal government is doing. I don't feel like I need to say this, but that is helping Black people. And this is what I mean by Black Americans regularly vote against our own best interest. For example, the DC City Council, all Democrats. You know, Black people vote for Democrat at like a 90-10 clip, a little less this election. But that DC Council that's Democrats quite literally tried to lower punishment for murder and other violent crimes. Again, Democrats issuing policy that's not helpful for the people that actually vote for them. Again, it's just crazy to me to hear these people say they care so much about Black people and then fight policies that make Black people more safe.
First of all, thank you to the Vice President for bringing us here today. Thank you, Secretary, for your leadership. And most importantly, thank you to the men and women of the National Guard. I think here's the most important point. There are residents who lived in Washington, D.C. their entire lives. Their parents lived here. Their grandparents lived here. And they have lived for generations in intolerable conditions of crime and decay. There are parts of the city, I moved to the city 20 years ago. There are places where I've seen graffiti that has been untouched for 2 decades. There are homeless encampments that have made it impossible for families to use public parks and public recreation for as long as I've lived here. There are hundreds of residents of this city who are shot in street violence every single year, making it one of the most violent cities on planet Earth. And for too long, 99% of this city has been terrorized by 1% of the city. And the voices that you hear out there Those crazy communists, they have no roots. They have no connections to the city. They have no families they are raising in this city. They have no one that they are sending to school in this city. They have no jobs in this city. They have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here today. Because me, Pete, and the Vice President are all going to leave here, and inspired by them, we're going to add thousands more resources to this city to get the criminals and the gang members out of here. We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there.
So, look, guys, what we wanted to do here was a couple things. First of all, we want to come and say thank you to the National Guard's folks, to the cops, for actually keeping this place safe. If you look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. in just the past 9 days, we've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. We are seeing really substantial effects because these guys are busting their ass. So I want to come here, highlight what they're doing, say thank you in person, obviously pass out a few burgers, but most of all, just send a message to the American people. Look, we don't have to live like this. We do not have to allow our cities to be taken over by violence and by disorder and by chaos. You can actually do stuff. You can actually bring law and order to communities. You've just got to have the political willpower to do it. And I think you hear these guys outside here screaming at us. Of course, these are a bunch of crazy protesters. But I'll tell you, a couple of years ago when I brought my kids here, they were being screamed at by violent vagrants, and it was scaring the hell out of my kids. And one of the things that we've done already in Union Station in just 9 days is we've made it a place where people can walk around safely. They can bring their kids again. They can see this beautiful monument, the architecture. They can have a meal with their friends and their loved ones because, again, we brought some law and order back to Washington, D.C. So I want to thank Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller. I want to thank all the people, the guardsmen here and the police officers who have worked very hard. And I know that we've traded now some violent, crazy people who are screaming at kids with a few crazy liberals who are screaming at the vice president. But I think that's a very worthwhile trade to make because we want our people to be able to enjoy our beautiful cities.
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, ring that notification bell so you know every time I post a new video. If you liked what I'm doing over here, you want to show a little extra love and support, be sure to check out our website down below, crownandthread.com. That's where you can grab all the awesome clothes you see me wearing in all of my videos, like this one of Psalm 46:10. They're all made by my beautiful wife, tons of different designs to choose from, Christian, conservative. We've got sizes ranging from itty bitty extra small to big and hefty 5X, bunch of different colors. It's all gooder than chicken to me, but of course I'm biased. I'm sure we've got something that you look great rocking or that'll make an awesome gift for someone that you love. We also sell some pretty sweet woodworking pieces made by my father-in-law, so definitely go check those out as well. If you'd like to support in other ways, you can buy me a coffee, hit the thanks button. You can become a Gibson family member right here on YouTube. All those links are down below. But listen, by no means do you have to do any of that. Just showing up and watching my freckled face rant at you for a few minutes each day, it means the world to me, y'all. Seriously, I appreciate you. I love y'all. And I truly can't thank you enough for rocking with me throughout the years. Whether you've been with me since my music reaction days or you're a recent supporter, by the grace of God, through Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and with y'all's support, my life couldn't be any better. Seriously. So thank you. Until next time, I'll be praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.